how did we get here?
Yeah.
Let's explain that, because I think this might be slightly surprising if you haven't been paying. If you're new to the show, you might not know the backstory of Chris Mack, or I don't know. Whatever your reason, it might be surprising on the surface, Tate, that Louisville would fire a coach. That doesn't happen a lot in college basketball unless there's off-court problems, because unlike college football, where you could fire a coach, 2/3 of the way into a season or halfway through a season, because you know that like you had national title hopes and you're 500, you fire the coach, right? That doesn't happen in college basketball as often, because there's always the hope of going on the run in March. There's always, no matter how bad Louisville is,
got to get there.
If we can win the ACC tournament, which we could this year because the ACC's down, if we could just string together some wins, then who knows? Maybe we could. And so the people who make these decisions, more often than not, will wait to see what happens, because you don't want to, you just never know. So having something like this might be surprising, but if you've been paying any attention, it's not surprising, in that Chris Mack has just slowly been unraveling for the last year, I want to say. And then it became very, very fast in the last couple weeks. So Louisville has lost 5 of 6 now, including on Russ Smith night when they retired his jersey against Notre Dame. They hang his jersey in the rafters and they get smacked at home.
And guess who was in the video?
Who's that?
Rick Pitino.
Oh, in the
he was in the tribute video.
That's unbelievable.
So it's not
over yet.
The powers that be.
You fired this man. Now you're putting him in videos.
Someone reached out to Rick Pitino, and Rick Pitino had to say yes. So that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is the conversation was had at least about that video. So it's not to say that there is no bridge there. Just putting it out
there. So Chris Mack lost 5 of 6 anyway. They lost to Virginia over the weekend, right?
Yeah.
He has been I haven't been paying super close attention, but it's popping into my purview that he's basically like fighting the media in every post game press conference he's doing, where he's like trying to gaslight people and say, I never said that, and like who, he'll say the one example I saw was like he said, I don't like, basically, how do I reach these kids? How do I reach these kids?
Yes.
And then 2 days later, he's doing a press conference, and they're like, are you going through it, Coach? You said you're having trouble reaching these kids. He's like, I never said that. Like, what? You said that? And it got to that point where he's like slowly losing.
And they asked Malik Williams, senior,
and that was the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, they asked Malik Williams. It said, "Are the players responding to the coaching staff?" Which is a very direct question. And usually, as a player, a pretty easy answer, which is just yes. Even if we aren't, we just say yes and we move on.
Yeah.
He said, and I quote, "I don't have a comment for that."
After pausing for like what felt like 30 seconds.
Yeah, no.
Like just sat there and he's like, huh.
He's like, I know what I should say. Trying to think about what I could say. No comment.
Do I say hell no, or just no, or do I I should probably just say no comment. No comment.
I think the first crack, though, as we're working back the timeline, at least for me, the first time that I saw the crack in the whole Mac system at Louisville was when he did the promo little wrestling video after they beat Kentucky.
Yes.
That was when I was.
Well, he did the promo to play Kentucky, because remember the Kentucky game.
Play Kentucky. Are there?
No, dude, this is why we have to unpack this, because there's a lot. Because
he lost his mind around then. Yeah,
he did the promo because the game was in jeopardy, quote unquote, about playing. And Cal, like, because remember, like, did they have to forfeit?
This was a ducking thing. This is a ducking and dodging situation, right?
Yeah,
if you remember correctly. Yeah,
it was Louis. Like, they were gonna have to play without fans, and like Mac was like, we shouldn't have to forfeit a game without fans. Then there was like a tug of war about whether they were gonna play. Kentucky and Louisville were even gonna play. Then he makes a video. Him and Cal just started going back and forth with like,
it was like wrestling promos. Yes.
Then they beat Kentucky last year, and him and the Eric Wood, the dude that played football at Louisville, he's going nuts, and Max hanging over his shoulder, just like, and Wood is yelling something about like Kenny Payne's the only reason you were ever good, Cal, because Kenny Payne had left at that point, and Max like, damn straight, and like acting a fool, and that pissed off all the Kentucky people, and that was enough of like this is weird, as you said, like a crack.
It was just an out of character. It was just like, you don't do that. You know what I mean? It was very juvenile behavior. You're like, what is happening here?
Fast forward to, I think, the moment when it was like, all right, so this is like when I realized this season Chris Mack is going to be on the hot seat was the Dino Gaudio, everything that unfolded there, which my understanding, and again, we should have Mike Rutherford or Dino Gaudio on the show to
shout out to Mike Rutherford, by the way. He is our man of the week here on our set.
He is. We got his picture hanging on the set up there.
Love you, Mike.
So at the end of last year, Louisville misses the tournament, as we know, and that's unacceptable by Louisville basketball standards. It's a program that won a national title.
We should say on the
2013,
bubble. I mean, there's
they were close,
they were close.
but again, this is why the tournament matters so much. You get in, you win a couple games, where it's a different story. To that point, in Chris Mack's defense, 2020, they had a decent team. They were going to make the tournament. Who knows what
Tournament canceled.
Who knows what happened? Maybe if Chris Mack goes to the Elite Eight that season, he's not fired. I don't know.
They were second in the ACC in 2020.
They were ranked number 1 for 2 weeks in 2020.
So think about that. That's
number 1 in the country.
That's how far we've gone. I mean, and they had a staff that had Dino Gaudio and Luke Murray, and they had all this positive momentum.
And then last year they don't make the tournament. I think Chris Mack had to come up with some answers, so he decided I'm going to fire my entire staff. Dino Gaudio, who was his mentor, or I don't know, mentor might be too strong, but they were they were boys, they were guys going all the way back. Dino Gaudio says, "What the hell, dude? I was gonna coach for like 1 or 2 more years anyway. You better give me my money that you owe me." Chris Mack records it, et cetera, et cetera. There's an extortion case. All of this is going on, and when it all happened, we talked about it. The point we kept driving home was that, like, because Chris Mack, like, Dino Gaudio is the one who got arrested. Chris Mack technically broke no laws or whatever, but like, it's just what he did was he invited chaos into a program that was the most chaotic basketball program in the country. That's how Rick Pitino was fired. Was basically, like, Rick Pitino was not fired because he's a bad coach. Duh.
Yeah,
shit. That's why they're going to hire him back. He's awesome. He's a great coach. He might be the best coach of all time.
He still might be the best coach in the game right now.
Ever. They fired him because of all the circus off the court. So, like, there's one thing that Louisville wanted by hiring Chris Mack was stability, was like non-controversy and stability. That's all we want. And he invited this controversy and instability into the program. So going into the season, coming off a season where you don't make the tournament, you have this extortion case going on. You fired your assistants. You're not supposed to be that good. Anyway, Louisville wasn't this year, but like, who knows? Maybe something crazy would happen. Didn't happen. They sucked ass. And it got worse, and now he's gone. So that's that. That's how we got here.
And the real thing, obviously, we're talking about the NCAA being involved, but they amended the notice of allegations to include the Dino Gaudio extortion.
Yes.
So, like, once that happened in September.
So it wasn't even just like a PR thing.
No.
Like
once the NCAA addressed it and said, we're going to add more to your already notice of allegations, we're going to add more allegations that implicate your current coach. Well, Chris Mack was supposed to be the clean guy after Rick Pitino. He was supposed to be the nice guy that came and kind of got things together, and every single coach that's been at Louisville is a Hall of Fame coach. So Chris Mack was on his way, supposedly, to be a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, he was
true?
I mean, that's what I saw all the Louisville people tweeting. I was like, and then I looked back and I was like, I think it checks out. It's all Hall of Fame coaches. You know what I mean? If you work it all the way back, so it's like Chris Mack is on this path, right? Yeah. Like you said, they're number 1 in the country.
They were number 1 in the country for 2 weeks.
It was all set up.
Yeah.
And then it just colossally collapsed.
I think it collapsed because the job is too big for him. And I think
power is a hell of a drug.
I think there are a few lessons we can learn from this. Number 1, don't leave your alma mater.
Never leave your alma mater.
Ever. That's it. Can I tell you the last 4 years that Chris Mack had at Xavier? This was his last 4-year run at Xavier. 2015, they go to the Sweet 16, lose to Arizona in 2015. 2016, Xavier gets a 2 seed, loses to Wisconsin in the second round, but like the 2 seed is just like indicative. Like, I'm not pretending like that was good that they lost in the second round, but it's just indicative of like where the program is at, that they're getting 2 seeds and then as Xavier. Then like, no
his alma mater.
No disrespect to Xavier, but like Xavier is not a program that's expecting a 1 seed and a 2 seed and then say tournament every single year. This is a big deal that they're getting 2 seeds. Then in 2017, they were an 11 seed, I believe. They go to the Elite 8 that year.
Yeah.
Almost make the Final Four.
That was the Chris Mack in the zeitgeist. People are like, this guy is a good high. You know what I mean? This is like, he's going to get a big job.
It was setting up to be because they beat Arizona that year. They beat Sean. That was going to be Sean Miller versus Mark Few in the Final Four.
Showdown for the West Coast.
Yeah. And Xavier makes the Elite 8 that year. And then in 2018, his final season at Xavier, they win the Big East 8.
Yeah.
They get a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Again, they lose to Florida State in the second round. That part sucked, but like that is a hell of a 4-year run for and not a ton of NCAA success. Granted, I like no Final Fours in there. I'll give you that, but like, I mean that is unequivocally a very successful run. Maybe I didn't go back and look up the whether it's the best 4-year stretch in Xavier basketball history. I imagine it probably was. And this man turned his back on that to chase the bag, which, like, I understand. His wife's from Louisville. He probably doubled his salary. But the grass isn't always greener, Tate. That's one lesson that we learned.
Again, his wife is named Christy. He is Chris. That's another thing that I'll never forget. I don't know why. It's just always.
That's lesson
always
one.
stays-
Lesson one was that I learned was never leave your alma mater. I don't care what school you went to. If you're coaching at that school, stay there because they'll build a stat. Like they would have. He could have had 5 straight years of missing the tournament, and Xavier wasn't going to fire him.
Exactly.
After that 4-year run.
That Florida State team that they lost to, I mean, they were a Leonard Hamilton moment away from what, Dana? From going to the Final Four. You know what I mean? That was a good Florida State team. So.
That's right. And then the other lesson I learned is that not all college basketball jobs are equal. Not even all good college basketball programs are equal. Not like we were talking about this off air, that there is a massive difference between first of all, I think Louisville is I think it's not controversial to say Louisville's a better program than Xavier, but even if you wanted to argue that, the jobs are not even close to the same. At Xavier, your kingdom is Xavier University. That's it. Even like Xavier fans would argue like you got to fight for the city of Cincinnati, and maybe that's true, but whatever. Like you have a very tiny group of people you have to please. You're a private school, which comes a lot of good things that you can just hide.
It's tight,
and
the situation
tight, and like it's a tight knit family. Louisville, you are the mayor of Louisville, and you're at war with like. It is.
You're a campaigner. You're out and about.
You are fighting battles You are fighting battles against the Dukes and North Carolinas of the ACC. You are fighting battles against the Kentuckys in your own state. You're fighting battles with the UCLAs because you're a national brand and you're trying to just own the entire country and win national. It is just a nonstop barrage of like politicking and schmoozing. And Rick Pitino was great at it, Tate. Rick Pitino did it well.
And you're
maybe
not
too well.
And you're not. Well, you're not even like. And then the other. You have to schmooze the Adidas part of it.
Yes.
Which is Rick Pitino was amazing at, obviously.
Yes.
And I don't think Chris Mack was great at that either.
I think Chris Mack got this job and was like, I just wanted to do what I was doing at Xavier, except get paid a lot more and actually have a chance of winning national.
And get these like big time players.
Get 5 stars versus like diamonds in the rough that I have to coach up. That's what I want. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. That's not like when you take the Louisville job, you're no longer even really coaching basketball. You're like now...
Yeah, you're a campaigner.
You're like managing this.
Yeah, you're governor,
entity.
mayor, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, exactly. You're everywhere. You're out and about. You have to kiss the ring of these boosters. You have to go to KFC. You have to like make sure they're happy. I mean, these are all things that are part of the job. Hey there, thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.